back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a video for a friend of mine. She asked me... Ooh, good eyelash. Today I'm going to be doing a video for a friend of mine who asked me to do a wearable look. And another friend of mine asked me for a tutorial on how I do eyelashes. There's a couple different ways of doing eyelashes. I'm just going to show you how I do mine personally, but that doesn't mean that's going to work for you. But I'll go into that when I do the eyelashes at the end. So a friend of mine is having kind of a rough time right now, and a little while ago she asked me to do an everyday wearable look. And even though I don't support James Charles, I do have his palette from a couple years ago. So I'm going to be using this today because this is the palette that I know my friend has. Or at least I remember her buying it. I don't know if she got rid of hers, but at the time she did have this. So this is what I'm going to be using for the look today. Just something super quick, super simple. I'm going to keep it really basic. Not a whole lot of heavy detail or cakey makeup. You know, this is going to be really quick, really pretty, really easy, out the door. Alright, so let's get into that. So, now that we're zoomed in, to start off, I'm going to use this Maybelline Fit Me concealer. God, this is old. I should probably get rid of it. But, you know what? I'm gonna use it up. This is my to use up bin. So, we're going to use that as a primer for our eyelids. You don't need a fancy eyelid primer. Some people think that concealer creases. I personally haven't had an issue with that. If you don't like using concealer, you can use your foundation. Like, you really don't have to have, like, a fancy eyelid primer to use eyeshadows with. I mean, honestly, eyeshadow works on your bare lid anyways. But if you want a nice even base to start with, you can just use concealer. It's really that easy. So we're just going to take a little bit on each eyelid. And then you don't need a fancy brush to blend this out with. You can literally use your finger. And besides, using your finger warms up the product so it melts into the skin a little bit better. Gosh, this is a nice concealer. Why haven't you used it? I stopped using it when I started buying up all these other ones. Like, I heard everybody talking about, like, Tarte Shape Tape and stuff, and I was like, oh my god, I have to have it, you know, and it's like a $30, $40 concealer. It's not as good as some stuff that I've tried from the drugstore, honestly. Not worth your money. I really recommend the CoverGirl. What is it? The CoverGirl. I just put it away. Where is it? Oh, here it is. The CoverGirl. How many times can I say CoverGirl? CoverGirl True Blend Undercover. It's the one with the stripy lid. That one works really well. Also, the new, not the hyaluronic acid ones, but the e.l.f. Camo Conceal. The regular ones, those ones are good too. Gently patting under the eyes. And there you see we have a little bit more of an even base, but it didn't take a whole lot of product and it didn't take a bunch of special tools. So I'm going to try to keep this simple. Actually, you know what? Let's try to do this. Let's try to do this with a single brush. Alright, we're going to do this whole look with a single double-ended brush. Just to keep it that easy for you guys, okay? So we're going to dip in to this brown shade right here. And we're going to take that all over the lid. Tap off the excess. Starting from the outer corner and making small circle motions, bring it in about halfway on the lid. You know, while you're doing this, it's a good idea to pull back and look and make sure that you're getting it symmetrical. I know I'm not great with symmetry, and this look doesn't have to be super perfect, but just for the sake of giving helpful hints, pulling back and checking to see what you need to do to make it more symmetrical is always helpful. There we go. So then the next color we're going to dip into here, I could go cooler. We could go cooler with this and go with this shade. Or you could go warmer and go with this middle shade here. I think I'm going to take this cooler, so I'm going to go with this one in the corner here. The one next to the gold shade in the bottom of the palette. And we're going to focus that closer to the outer corner. Just because I'm using the James Charles palette for this does not mean that you have to use the James Charles palette. I gave up supporting James Charles and Morphe altogether, and Jeffree Star, like all of Morphe's products, I stopped supporting, almost a year ago now. And I haven't bought anything from them since, and honestly, it's perfectly fine. Like, there is an e.l.f. palette. I don't have it on hand right now, but there's an e.l.f. palette that only has 4 shades in it. They're the little mini bite-sized palettes that are only like $2. Those are perfect for this, because they already have the shades that you need to create a nice ombre in order, plus a shimmer, and that's all you need. You don't even have to use a shimmer. If you want to stop here, and whack on a wing and maybe some lashes, that's fine. That's totally fine. Like, you don't have to follow instructions all the way to the end. If you like how it looks halfway through, then stop halfway through. You know, and once you start doing makeup more often, you're gonna build muscle memory for these types of motions. You're not even gonna have to think about it, honestly. You just want to focus darker colors to the outer socket of your eye. So if you take your fingers and you feel where the bones of your eye socket are, the outer corner of your eye socket, which is right here, is where the deepest shadow should go, because that's where your eyes are the most sunken in, and you want to accentuate that darkness for a smoky eye. But this is a brown smoky eye. We're not going to take it super dark. This is office, everyday work, Christian makeup. You know, just super simple, super easy, but always is going to look nice. There's a reason Urban Decay has built a brand. There's a reason a bunch of companies have built a brand off of just making neutral brown eyeshadow palettes, whether it be cool tone. Cool tone was a thing a while ago, and it's coming back again. Or warm tone. You know, the last couple of years, everybody's been wanting those autumn warm brown tones. But we're going cool tone, because cool tone is coming back. Checking to make sure that it looks a little bit even. And blending some more. So you can see already that my eyes look much bigger because that darker corner on the outside is accentuating the white in the center of our eyes. Now, I have brown eyes, so brown eyeshadow complements my eyes, but brown eyeshadow looks nice on just about anybody. But depending on your skin tone, you might have to go lighter or darker with your shadows. If you have a very dark skin tone, putting light brown shades on your eyes is not going to have the same effect as it would on a lighter skinned person. You don't have to have the best quality stuff to have something that looks decent, you know? It's only when you're starting to do, like, really detailed stuff, or sometimes chalky eyeshadows get kind of patchy. Like, I don't recommend the Revlon eyeshadows. Those don't work very well. Or even, like, the Maybelline ones, but, like, the e.l.f. ones, the Profusion ones, those are good. If you're shopping online, ColourPop is a great option. Very affordable. Very in price range. BH Cosmetics, their whole Sweet Shop line has some very quality eyeshadows for only, like, $15 a palette, I think. So, Yeah, I mean, there is quality out there within budget, but you have to be careful what you're picking up. Definitely check the ingredients, see where talc is in the list. If talc is the first ingredient, that eyeshadow will be chalky and most likely will not stick. It will be patchy. Also, talc is a carcinogen, and also talc is mined with child labor. Like, there's a whole lot of issues with cheaper eyeshadows, so you have to be careful of that. But I know ColourPop tries very hard to outsource ingredients from reputable sources. They're also cruelty-free. Yeah, I mean, it can be done. You just have to do your research. Okay, so this is as dark as we are going. This is as dark as we are going. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna dust off on a rag. Ignore the color on this rag. I was doing face paint the other day. So we're gonna dust off the excess on this brush. And then I'm gonna take this shade right here. It's the lightest on the opposite corner. And we're gonna tap into that. And we're gonna use that to blend out our edges. Now, if you were being super careful blending, which I wasn't necessarily being, you might not even have to do this. But I just like to take a lighter color, a skin color, and buff out the darker edges. I don't know if you can see, it just smooths it out. I mean, the line on where this blend starts is essentially invisible. So, if I was doing bridal, I would probably take the pinkier shade here, this one, and use that as the shimmer. Because this is an everyday office look, I'm going to take the one next to the white in the big pan, and I'm going to use that as my overlid shade. But you can pick whichever one you think would fit with your look. You know, depending on the outfit you're wearing, you might want to go for the darker gold, or even, heck, you could use a color. You could use a color shimmer, but again, because this is a neutral brown look meant for everyday office wear, we're gonna go with the simple light gold. So I'm gonna take the flat edge of this brush and dip into that shimmer. Now, some people like to spray their shimmers before they put them on their eyes for more impact. You could do that here too if you have a setting spray. You don't need a setting spray, but it does help when you have a lot of powders on your face to melt them into your skin. I think one of the biggest mistakes people have been making with makeup, and honestly, I'm not a professional, so don't take me don't give my words more weight than just somebody talking to you. But I see a lot of people who took the baking trend and ran with it, and also I'm seeing a shift into less is more, which I think is fantastic, because yes, caking on makeup looks nice with 3 ring lights and 2 box lights, but it's not gonna look nice in daylight. You know, when you step outside into the sun and take a look at your skin, you will see every layer of makeup you put on. And makeup, no matter what you do, will always look like makeup. Unless you don't wear any. You know, it sits on top of your skin, and there's no way of hiding the fact that if you wear makeup, it's makeup. You will see it. But that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. You don't have to run away from texture, and you don't have to run away from a little bit of cakiness. You know, like, it's fine. If you feel confident in what you're wearing, go for it. Who cares what anybody else says? You know, like, skin has texture. Expecting people with actual flesh to look like a blank canvas is not possible. So, just keep that in mind. You know, wrinkles, bags, discoloration, these things are normal. Every human being on the planet deals with it, and I think that's something important to remember too when people are going through like Instagram or YouTube or TikTok. Like, these are moments that are cherry-picked out of people's lives to be shared on social media. Like, that's not what they look like every single day. I can promise you that. You know, like, just be confident in yourself, okay? And don't try to live up to false expectations set by social media. I promise you, it will make your life a whole lot easier if you stop trying to, if you stop trying to achieve the unachievable, your life will be so much easier. Enough rambling, I'm gonna apply this now. We're gonna go for this inner triangle with this shade. And you can see just the brightness that adds, that adds to our look. Now you can also go in with your finger. I use the brush just to get that nice inner corner there. But you can go in with your finger and add the shimmer that way, and it will intensify it. If you want to spray your brush with setting spray, you can, but you don't have to. You can still get a nice effect just using the powder as is. And kind of tap swiping it. I would say, like, I tap and then swipe just a little bit. And you can see that just brightens the eye. You can see the difference between this one and this one. You can also do an inner corner highlight, which I might do with the lightest shimmer in the palette, which is on the bottom next to that light tan color. But you don't have to. You can stop here, you could stop here, you could stop wherever you want. Whatever you have time for and whatever you feel comfortable doing, or whatever you feel is acceptable for your work environment, is totally fine. I know my work is super accepting and encouraging of makeup and colorful hair, which is awesome. But I know that I have had jobs in the past that were not welcoming of colored hair, tattoos, piercings, makeup. Which, funny enough, like, for some of the jobs I've had, you wouldn't expect them to see that as an issue, but we live in the times we live in, you know? So you really want to make sure that you get that down on your lash line there. You don't want any patchiness along where your lashes come out. But you can see just how bright that makes the eye look. Definitely adds a little bit of sparkle, adds a little bit of something to the look. Alright, now I'm dusting off my brush on the fluffy end, and I'm going to go back into that neutral shade that we started with, just to blend the shimmer in that darker shade. You can see that takes away that harsh line that you have here. If you like that harsh line, keep it. You don't have to blend it away. I'm just blending it in a little bit because I don't like how harsh it was. But like I said, you can stop at any point, or you don't even have to follow this tutorial if you don't want to. Now it's definitely a lot softer looking and will last the day. Just blending the outer edge there. There's no product on my brush. There you go. Now, you could use a brow mascara. I am not going to. All I'm going to do is spoily them. If you don't have thick eyebrows, you don't even have to brush them. Honestly, just wear your brows the way they naturally lay on your face. But I'm going to spoolie them so that they are at least facing the direction I want. See? Just that easy. It's really not difficult to make your brows look nice. You don't have to have cut, sharp brows that are filled in with thick pomade. Like, natural brows will always look appealing. They don't have to be super high maintenance at all. You know, some people like to go get their brows threaded. That's fine. That makes it even easier, because then you don't have to go through and pluck them. You know, if you have nicely shaped brows, just leave it at that. Simple as that. So, for the face makeup, super, super simple. I'm going to take that same concealer that I used before, and I'm just going to dab it on some problem areas. So I have that red mark there. I've got some blue undertones under my eyes because I don't sleep. I mean, right now it's what? 2 o'clock in the morning. Don't judge me. Got a little bit of redness here. And right there. And that's it. That's all I'm going to do for concealer. I'm really not going in with heavy concealer. I'm not doing contouring with the concealer. It's not necessary. For light, everyday makeup, not necessary. I am using a dense brush. I highly recommend this brush. It still loves the foundation brush from IT Cosmetics. I don't know if it's still available, but the IT Cosmetics foundation brush is the one thing that I do recommend. Because it's so dense, it blends products beautifully. You can use a beauty blender, you can use your fingers, you can use a foundation brush, you can use whatever you want. But I highly recommend this brush. You can just see how beautifully that blends. There's no excessive streaking. It doesn't soak up all the product. It gives you a really nice buff. And it's a really nice shape to get under your eyes with. See, just like that, the problem areas are gone. My face doesn't look super heavy with makeup though. It covered up what I needed it to cover up and nothing more. So, honestly, you don't need foundation. I'm going to put foundation on, but you don't need foundation. Like, if you have, like, I have some discoloration around my nose. You know, the tip of my nose is a little red, but I covered up the things that I consider problem areas. You know, right now it's trendy anyways to put blush on your nose. So why would I bother covering up the redness on my nose, you know? But if you want foundation, you can definitely put on foundation. So I'm going to take the Photo Focus Wet n Wild Dewy. And surprisingly enough, my friends matched me with this shade. They just so happened to pick up a really decent match on me. This is Rose Ivory. And I really like this because it's not... does it say full? It doesn't say full coverage. It's a very light coverage. So I can just do little paddle here, little paddle there, and that's enough. Honestly, with this brush that doesn't soak up any product, like, this is enough foundation. We're just gonna see, it was just enough to tame that redness on my nose, but it's not enough to cake on my skin. You know, you can hardly tell that I have makeup on, but it does even out the skin tones. Like, I have some little red bumps happening here. Gone. Red bumps who? We don't know her. So you can still see my skin texture. You know, my skin looks like skin. I don't know if you can see. You know, there is bumps and pores and, you know, you can still see little freckles that I have here and there, but it evens out the tone, you know. And also, this isn't super heavy, so if you're working, bring it down the neck. If you're working in a situation where you might get sweaty, or, you know, you're in the sun or something like that, like, this isn't gonna melt off the face because it's not a thick layer hanging onto your face in the first place. Just gonna be careful with my brows a little bit. Don't want to push them all out of shape. But there you go, just like that. Super duper easy, nice foundation. So, you could go in with contour, bronzer, whatever you want. I am going to go in with some blush just to give my face some color again. But I don't really like bronze and contour. For my face shape, the standard like triangle cuts don't look nice. You can experiment and see what you like to do, but for me, I'm just going to leave it like this and add some blush. So, I actually have this really cute little rose brush that I use for blush that's pink on the end because it's shaped like a rose. I don't know why, this is just the brush that I like using. So I'm going to use this L'Oreal blush in Baby Blossom. It's a true match. If I can get it open. Oh yeah, I forgot. These are like double-ended. So on one end you have the product, and then on the other end you have a mirror and a brush. Who uses those brushes, honestly? Not me. Anyways, we're gonna go in with this. And I'm gonna go right. So my cheekbone goes up this way, and I don't want rosy apple cheeks. I want nice flush color. So I'm gonna go in from the tail of my brow. I'm being very light-handed with this, very lightly building up the color, because I don't want too much. I just want a nice light flush of color. I haven't really found, like, bronzers are very orange because it's supposed to look tan. I am not tan, so if I use them, then it kind of just looks like I put, like, orange powder on my face. Why would I do that? I have used a combination of blush and bronzer as, like, the cute cheek thing that people are doing, where you go, like, on the cheeks and over the nose, because it looks like you've been hit by the sun there, and it looks really cute. So you can do that, but that's kind of overkill. So for this look, not gonna do it. Just doing some blush, and I didn't use any powder other than that, and that's it. That's it for the face. It's really easy. Super duper easy. Okay, so the last couple little things I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna take my pinky in that light shimmer powder, and I'm just gonna tap that into the inner corner for a highlight, but you don't have to do that if you don't want to, or if you don't think it's appropriate. Same with the other eye. It would be helpful if I'd actually pick up the product. There we go. Inner corner highlight. Super easy. Brings a lot of light into the eyes. It's nice. Okay, so you could stop here. I am going to add just a black line. I'm not going to do a wing. You could do a wing if you want to, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to line my lash line, and I'm not going to do my waterline at all. We're just going to keep this super simple. So I'm going to take a black pencil. You could also use a dark brown, but because I'm going to put lashes on, I want black so it hides the glue. So, like I said, you could stop before this point. I know it's a little uneven. I'm not in super great practice using pencils. I usually use a liquid liner, and I usually do a wing. But like I said, I'm not doing that for this look, so excuse the unevenness of that. But it's just to hide the glue for the lash band, okay? It's not supposed to be seen, and you won't see it once I put the lashes on. So I'm going to take these Ardell. They're not the Wispies, but they're the 142s. But you could use the Wispies. These are similar. They're just a little longer, I think. And I'm going to get the package open. I don't know why that was stuck together so hard. So when you take them out of the box for the first time, they're going to be like super well glued onto here. And especially with these thinner ones, you want to be careful not to rip them. I think this pair, I don't know if you can see, but this one's just a tiny bit shorter than this one because I ripped it. You can also cut your lashes to whatever size you think is going to work for you. I don't often cut my lashes because most of the time they're the length that I'm happy with. But when I started putting lashes on, I definitely did cut them because when they were too close to the inner corner, they bothered me. Now, not so much, but that's a different story. Alright, and you want to take a look at them and make sure that the outer corner is the right one. Because they tend to get longer as they go outward, so you want to make sure you know which one's going on the inside. I just have them stuck to my finger. Sometimes I just stick them to the table. It doesn't really matter. And then I like the brush-on glue because I like the control you get with the brush. You can also use the squeeze-on glue. It works exactly the same. Just instead of brushing it on, then you have to be careful squeezing it on. You can also use a glue liner. I have a glue liner from Spoiled Lips Cosmetics that is just a black eyeliner that's tacky when it dries, so you can stick the eyelashes directly onto that then. I've also seen some people draw their wings with the glue brush and do it that way. So I'm just going to paint the glue along the edge of the lash band, and then I'm going to set it down. And we're going to set it down and let it dry for a minute because it won't be tacky until it dries. Some people use tweezers. Some people use eyelash tweezers. I have both. It depends on the pair of lashes for me. If I'm doing really big, gigantic lashes, like these ones, for example, like they're very big and thick, then I might use the eyelash tweezers for those. Sometimes if there's an eyelash that I put on and is lifting a little bit, then I might use the tweezers to help poke it down. But for the most part, I found it's easier to just use my fingers. So I'm going to pinch the lash between my fingers. And let me bring you a little closer for this really quick. So we are fully zoomed in here. This is as close as I can get my camera to zoom in. So we're going to do this very quickly, very easily. You just take the lash. For me personally, I like gluing it in the center and then affixing the edges. You can do it, some people do it the inner corner first and then they work their way out. It really depends on your personal preference for applying lashes. So what I like to do is kind of look at an angle so that my natural lashes are out of the way. Kind of using my thumb to push them down sometimes. And then, boop, right above the natural lashes. Some people apply them under your lashes. That terrifies me. I will probably never do that. But some people do, and they swear by it. You're gonna have to go look at a different tutorial on how to do that one. But then I just take my thumb and my ring finger, middle finger, and I squish the false lashes to my natural lashes. Just to adhere the lash band for the full distance. Now it's a little tricky because I'm left-handed applying the right eyelash, but it's the same process. Sometimes I try to do it right-handed. We'll try it right-handed today, see how it goes. Oop, and that one's stuck a little bit weird. That's okay, I can just peel it off and try again. See if I can try again without needing new glue. There we go. Just sticking the inner corner on. It doesn't want to cooperate, so we're gonna bust out the tweezers. And be careful not to poke your eyeball. We're just gonna adjust the corner. There you go. So this one was ripped on that inner lash that's not as thick as this one is. So if it looks a little weird in comparison, that's why. But that's essentially how I apply my lashes. Any lashes that I do, that's basically how I do them. And it just takes a lot of practice on knowing how you like to apply them, and also different types of lashes have different looks when you put them on. So some of them flare out on the end, so you can definitely tell which one is the outer corner. Some of them are longer than others, so you might have to trim them. It's a lot of just practice and knowing what you're comfortable with and how you like to put them on. Like, I know the first time I tried to put lashes on, I was terrified of getting tweezers anywhere near my eyeballs. I was like, I'm gonna poke my eyeball out. I cannot do that. I cannot do that. But I think it's been like a year and a half since I started the YouTube channel. Over time, I've gotten much better at it. So this one looks a lot better than this one does. This one I let the glue dry a little bit too long on. And that inner corner is not cooperating. But because we put that liner down, you can't see the liner on the eye, but it hides the lash band when you put the new lashes on. Alright, we're going to zoom back out just a little bit here. And I'm going to grab a highlighter. You could stop here. You don't have to put a highlighter on. I live for highlighter sometimes. So I'm going to use the Ofra Glazed Donut collab. It's just a white gold that suits my skin tone really well. Again, if you don't want to put one on, you don't have to. Or if you don't think it's appropriate, you don't have to. It's basically the same color as the inner corner highlight that I'm going for today. And I really like these fluffy brushes that come to kind of a point for highlighter. Just because you have a lot of control, but they're also not super dense. And I'm just going to take that along the ridge of my eye socket. So the ridge of my eye socket's like right about here. You can feel it if you touch your face. And that's where your face catches light naturally when you're looking around. There's no reason to put like a straight swipe. Ooh, I caught my nose there a little bit. There's no reason to put like a straight swipe across your cheekbone. You know, you're not playing football. It's not blackout. So we're just going to do that again on this side. And you can kind of see in my facial structure, there's like a natural highlight on the outer corner of my eye here. So that's about where I like to stop with my highlight. So I just take that little bit, just that little bit there. And also the natural tip of my nose is quite shiny. So I'm going to accentuate that just a little bit. Also, I'm quite shiny right in between my eyebrows, so I'm just going to hit that a tiny bit. And the rest of my face is looking kind of dull, so I'm going to go just above Cupid's bow and the center of my chin. But you don't have to do that if you don't want to. You can also do a brow bone highlight, which is right under where your natural brow sits. I'm not going to do that because I already have the inner corner highlight, and I feel like this is enough shimmer for one face. But if you want to, you can definitely do that as well. It's COVID right now, so most people are wearing face masks, and having less makeup on definitely makes it less noticeable. If you're in like a dinner setting or something, when you take your mask off, you won't see a line where the mask has rubbed the makeup off your face. Also, I don't really wear lipstick anymore because I have a mask on most of the day, but if you wanted to put a lipstick on, I'd suggest like a nice light brown, like a not necessarily a matte lipstick. You could definitely do a matte lipstick with this look if you wanted to, but I'd probably say like a brown gloss would look nice, just natural, or even just like a regular gloss, or just a lip balm. You know, add a little bit of shine to your natural lips without adding any color. That's totally also a possibility. That's also a possibility, you know? Whatever floats your boat. So I'm gonna call this done. For a natural wearable look plus an eyelash adhesion tutorial, these lashes already have mascara in them because I've worn them before. If you wanted to blend your natural lashes with the false lashes a lot better, you could definitely go through with mascara. But again, that would make them clumpy depending on the mascara you're using. And if you're using lashes that are meant to look like your lashes but better, you might not even have to do that. Like on this side, you can barely even tell where my natural lashes are anymore. And that's kind of what we're going for. So I'm not going to bother adding any mascara, but you could definitely do that as well if that's what you're into. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Have a great day. Bye.